My parents kicked me and my daughter out to make space for my spoiled sister. But when I stopped paying their mortgage, the house went into foreclosure, and now they're begging for forgiveness. I'm 29 and I've been supporting my parents for 3 years after Dad's stroke left him unable to work. Every month I paid their $2,100 mortgage while raising my 4-year-old daughter Sophia alone in their guest room. When Dad had his stroke, I moved in immediately and covered all their bills. Mortgage, property taxes, insurance, groceries, everything. I worked from home doing graphic design so I could take him to therapy appointments. Sophia and I lived in the guest room and we made it work. My sister Paige is 26 and has always been the golden child. She married rich, moved to California, and barely called us. During Dad's entire recovery, she never once offered to help with bills, not a single dollar. 3 months ago, Paige's marriage fell apart. She called Mom crying, and within a week, she was back with 6 designer suitcases. The first night, I made dinner like always. Paige walked in, looked at Sophia's drawings covering the guest room walls, and asked Mom when we were moving out. She said she couldn't stay with a screaming kid. Sophia doesn't scream. She's the quietest 4-year-old ever. 2 days later, Mom pulled me aside after breakfast. She said Paige needed stability and the guest room would be better for her because it had the private bathroom. I asked where we'd go. Mom said maybe it was time I found my own apartment, that I should be more independent. I reminded her I'd paid their mortgage for 3 years straight. Dad actually said we let you live here rent-free. I pulled up my bank statements and showed every $2,100 payment, 3 years worth. Mom looked away. That night, I heard Paige complaining to Mom about how uncomfortable she felt with us there. Mom promised to handle it soon. I asked for 1 week to find a place. On day 5, I came home to all our stuff in garbage bags on the porch. Sophia was sitting on the steps crying in her pajamas. Mom had put her outside alone. She was 4 years old on a porch in February. Sophia asked why Grandma didn't want us anymore. I had no answer. We drove to a Holiday Inn and I cried in the bathroom while she slept. That night, I opened my banking app and deleted the mortgage auto pay, then the tax payment, then insurance. I didn't tell them. I just stopped paying. 2 weeks later, Paige called acting sweet, asking how we were settling in. I hung up on her. 3 weeks after that, Mom called frantic. The bank had contacted them about a missed payment. She asked if my account had issues. I said, no, Mom, I'm just not paying anymore. Silence, then hysterical crying. She said they'd lose the house. I told her she threw her granddaughter on a porch like garbage and to ask Paige for money. Paige moved out 4 days later after one argument about dishes. By month 3, they were 2 payments behind. Dad called saying the stress was affecting his recovery, that I was going to cause another stroke. I told him he should have thought about that before choosing Paige over Sophia's safety. Month 4, my brother called trying to play mediator. He said family is family and everyone makes mistakes. I asked if he'd pay their mortgage. She said that wasn't the point. I hung up. Last week, I drove past to grab mail that was still being sent there. There was a bright orange foreclosure notice taped to the door. Mom was sitting on the same porch steps where she'd left Sophia. She saw me and ran to my car sobbing, grabbing the door handle, begging me to come back. They'd made a terrible mistake. They needed me. Dad came out looking smaller and older. He said I was still their daughter, and family helps family through hard times. I looked at them both. I said, you made your choice when you threw my daughter out like trash for Paige. You chose her feelings over your granddaughter's safety. That's not family. Mom screamed that I was vindictive and cruel, that I was punishing them over one mistake. One mistake? I looked her in the eyes. I paid your bills for 3 years, and you left my 4-year-old baby outside in winter. I drove away while Mom collapsed crying in the driveway. I watched in my rearview mirror and felt nothing. They lost the house at auction 3 days ago. My brother told me they're living in his cramped basement now, and he's already complaining about them being there. And Paige? She moved to Texas with some new boyfriend she met online. She hasn't called them even once since she left.